Well, what's up? My reign continues. I've invaded the whole Thursday night track Moana Nui podcast show. I am Most Epic Art, aka Mike Watson, the publisher of Freestyle Comics. And what makes this takeover even more ignorant is that I have not been on any of my streaming shows for the last 10 weeks. I'm just randomly taking over other people's shows, and other people are taking over my shows. It's mayhem. But with mayhem comes awesome streaming. We got a great debate coming on here tonight. We got some awesome people that will be talking about and discussing Shazam, Fury of the Gods. So I'm gonna tell you right now, if you haven't seen it, this is your disclaimer. Get out of here. Get out if you don't want spoilers. Now, if you don't give a dang about spoilers, sit back, get in your seat, join us. If you want to discuss how much you loved it, how much you disliked it, or if you're in the middle or you dislike The Rock, this is going to be the episode for you. This is where you want to come chop it up and get all that off your chest. All right. Now, about half an hour ago, we just talked about mental stress and trauma and all that stuff. Let's make sure we don't have any trauma from this film and get it all out on the table tonight. Right. I'm about to bring the guest out here, and I'm gonna get the heck out of here. We got Kyle. What's up, Kyle?
What's up, man? How you doing? For us tonight. I am the illustrious moderator, the hostess with the mostest, here to talk about Shazam, Fury of the Gods. I'm here to talk. I'm the DC guy. I'm here to talk about this. Let's go.
Awesome. I'm gonna get the rest of the crew out here with you, and you guys have at it.
All right, my man. Thank you so much. All right, tonight, welcome, my good people. Tonight we are here to talk about the DC film Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Before we get to that, I want to introduce my lovely panel of comrades. Let's go around the board. Introduce the first on my right. I have Simone. Simone, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm all Hogwarts today. I don't even know what realm that falls in. I don't care. I'm just all Hogwarts today.
What house are you?
Slytherin, baby. Well, okay, so real quick. When I came to Houston from New York, I joined the Houston Harry Potter meetup group, and I was put into Ravenclaw. Okay. And then when Pottermore came out and I did the test, they saw what was really in my heart and put me in Slytherin. Actually, I was house stalled between Ravenclaw and Slytherin, and then they put me into Slytherin. So I claim both houses. I'm a Slitherclaw.
Okay, all right. I'm Team Hufflepuff over here, but you know what?
And we best buddies. We best buddies. You my BFF.
It's good that there are actually Hufflepuffs out there who admit they're Hufflepuffs.
Hey,
Hufflepuff is the best
I say low key like y'all embarrassed to be Hufflepuff.
No.
All I see is Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin just like bigging up their chests. And Hufflepuff, I'm like, there's got to be Hufflepuff out there somewhere. Where y'all at?
The Hufflepuffs are they're low key, but they're there and they're loyal.
Yeah.
Even before JKR lost her mind, she said that's her favorite house.
Did she lose her mind, or did she just feel confident enough to start speaking it?
No, she lost her damn mind. she lost her mind because she had to drink something. I don't know. Maybe she was infected by Trump. I don't know. But she lost her damn mind. But moving on to the person underneath me.
All right, to my lower
James.
right, we got my man James. James, aka DJ Deserves our rock bottom. James, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Yeah, we'll get into my tag later, but I'm glad to be here tonight. Happy to talk about the film in both capacities, good and bad, and one more than the other. But yeah, all in all, I would say this film was quite mid.
Yeah. All right, and last but certainly not least, below me, we have the wonderful Theresa. Theresa, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Hi, Simone and I are Slytherin sisters.
Oh,
But tonight I'm repping House Care Bear, so
Care Bear stare.
with my my spirit animal down here is Grumpy Bear.
Mm.
Well, again, I'm happy to be here, happy to be amongst you guys to talk about this movie, Shazam, Fury of the Gods. So before we get into the meat of the movie, I kind of want to go around the room and feel and kind of get a grasp of, what you did like and what you necessarily didn't like. Well, first I'll ask the first question. Has everyone seen the first movie, the first Shazam movie?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And as far as from the first movie, what were your thoughts? What did you necessarily think about the first movie?
I liked the first movie.
Okay.
I liked it. It had humor, which was what Theresa would call that stupid type of humor. But it was funny. It wasn't too much of it. It was in the right spots where it should be.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I like the story, and then the end where, okay, they're bringing in Black Adam. I was ready for it. I was ready. I was happy that they had just more than one person.
Mm-hmm.
They had a whole group, a family.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay.
I wasn't too thrilled that. I didn't see the second movie, and the reason why I wasn't, even though I love Mirren, I thought it was going to be with Black Adam.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be with him, and I was just trying to figure out how they was going to get him in there, but I just wasn't in the mood to see it. I'm like, wait.
Let me go before James blasts it.
Oh, he won't be the only one. He won't be the only one.
I can see it welling up in him. So.
Trust and believe. He won't be the only one. Theresa, go ahead and so you saw the first movie. What did you think about the first movie?
I enjoyed the first one. It was entertaining. I think we've been through the fact that I like kind of I'm like a Disney Channel girl. That's my TV is parked on the Disney Channel like all the time, so it's going in the background. And to me, it could have been a Disney Channel movie, which is not a bad thing. It just means that, it's got the kids in it. It's playful. It was entertaining. It even had one in particular, young man who pretty much got his start on the Disney Channel. Yeah. Of course I don't know his name. I can't remember anything. But the one who plays the young man who turns into Shazam.
Asher Angel.
Yes, and I should have known that because I watched Andy, whatever that. Anyway, I really enjoyed the first one. It was entertaining, funny, cute. Loved the implied Superman cameo in the end. So I expected more of that. Are we only talking about the first one now?
Yeah, just the first one.
Okay.
Just the first one.
So, and Simone said it was comedic, but it's my kind of comedy. I enjoyed it, so I wasn't mad that it was kind of silly.
Okay. James, what did you think about the first movie?
The first movie I loved. It wasn't the greatest thing out there as far as comic book films. Yeah, they were better, they were worse. I would say the first film was probably like a 7.5 with 8 potential out of 10. At that point, by far the best DC had done as far as this new regime under that current group. Because I think at that point they had just finished their merger with AT&T or something like that. But definitely like a giant step up from the 3 turds that preceded it. Yeah. With Joss Whedon's Justice League, BVS, and there was something else in it that like really bombed out. that I'm blanking on right now, but it was a welcome change as far as the dark and gritty that DC seemed to be hell-bent on going down. Like, the entire universe is not dark and gritty. Everything doesn't, like, Batman is your most popular character, doesn't mean the entire world outside of Batman is dark and gritty. Everybody else is some variation of light and hope. You know, not to the extent of Superman, but they're more closer to Superman as far as light and hope than they are towards dark and gritty like Batman. And this is a welcome change in just the overall aesthetic. I thought the story was very concise and well done. Focused mostly on Billy Batson. Everybody else was kind of like just there because it was, you know, at its core still a family movie. Yeah. So and yeah, like Theresa said, it's something that probably could have been on the Disney Channel. Now that I think about it, it kind of reminds me of what was that Disney superhero film starring Robert Townsend?
Up and Away. Up and Away.
Up and Away. Yes, it had similar beats to that. The first movie did, and yeah, they probably should have stuck to a lot of those beats as far as character building, because as we'll get into, this second film had zero character building.
So I kind of disagree with you on that, but we'll get into it. So the first movie, I had seen it when, you know, upon release, and me and my girlfriend went to see the second movie. She hadn't seen the first one. So we watched the first one again prior to seeing The Fear of the Gods. So the one thing I really appreciated about this movie, you're absolutely right, it was a big departure from the dark landscape that we had gotten prior to that movie, not just with Batman versus Superman, but also with Man of Steel, and partially Aquaman, because Aquaman at that point, I don't think it had already come out, so there are parts of Aquaman that are a little dark. I also appreciated the fact that they really harkened on family and building on that family aspect. You know, you don't have to necessarily be blood to be family. I really appreciated the fact that we actually got the Shazam family in that movie as opposed to just Shazam. I think the one major issue I had, which kind of carried over to the second movie, was the different personalities you got with Billy and that you got with Shazam, the character. Because a lot of times it felt like Billy was very street smart, very very knowledgeable as far as like had a lot of common sense. Shazam didn't. Zachary Levi's character didn't. And it seemed like they were two totally different characters as opposed to younger Billy Batson being aged up. And it felt like two different personalities. Like even his interactions with Freddy when he was Shazam didn't seem like a similar interactions he had with him when he was Billy. So I felt a lot of that was completely off. Overall, I probably would have given the movie like a 6.5, a 7 out of 10. Definitely one of DC's better movies at that point in time. And I thought, like Simone, I was hopeful that we would get a Black Adam, part in the sequel. But we'll get to my frustrations about that when we get to that. So everyone saw the first movie. Okay, so I think we're gonna do this starting with the good, the bad, and the ugly. The real ugly.
Aren't the last two the same thing?
No, because there's some bad.
The bad and ugly, I couldn't tell the difference.
No. There's some bad, but then there's some straight up ugly, and we're gonna get to it. So first, let's kind of talk about the good that this movie did, if there was any in your opinion. Let's kind of talk about the good. So, Simone.
Well, let me read Joy's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So on one of our counterparts is overseas right now, and she sent her. I'm gonna try this not in her voice, but I'm gonna try in her attitude. Let me see if I can get this. Okay, so let's see. She said Shazam falls somewhere between Ant-Man Quantumania and Thor Dark World, and that's not a compliment. She liked it. Nothing was memorable, which is kind of an oxymoron because how can you like it and it's not a compliment? That means that you didn't like it. I don't care about the characters. The best fight sequence was in the commercial, which was the trailer. That was okay. They want this to be like the Eternals Assemble, but it's not quite there. And the Eternals also is out on the island by itself, regardless, useless and appeal. Regarding usefulness and appeal. Okay, so she didn't like Eternals either. I'll get to her about that later. But because I liked Eternals.
Overall, she gave it 5.5 out of 10, if I recall.
5.5 out of 10. From the reviews, I haven't seen it, but from the reviews that I was listening to, the same thing you said, Kyle. The difference from him being Billy going to Shazam, because when you're Shazam, you were supposed to have some god's
Solomon,
yes, wisdom, yeah. But you didn't have that. So I'm assuming that they explained that in the movie as to why he didn't have that.
No, he battled with it. He tried to. He was like, I know I'm supposed to have this, but I don't. So I'm just gonna keep being stupid till the very end of the movie.
Okay, so that you're straying from the comic books, and of course we know that you can't be like the comics. We know that you just take the comics is just basically a tool, a book, and you take it, you write it, and you move on with it. But from the reviews, that was the biggest thing for them because there were some parts that was funny compared to silliness. It was more silly than the first one, and they kept repeating the same lines over and over again that they were saying, or wow, yeah, or something crazy like that. It didn't have a much appeal to the critics. They really didn't like it.
Okay, James, what you got?
So as far as the powers and everything, there was this nod to, I guess, the acronym of his name and what the powers are, where the pen was writing the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, the stamina of Atlas, the power of Zeus, the courage of Achilles, and the speed of Mercury. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that because that's as close as we got to all of those powers actually being seen on film, on the screen, minus the strength and the speed.
Right.
That was about it. I mean, everything else was pretty much lacking because there was no wisdom explored in either film whatsoever. In this film, I will say I did like that I liked it for the entertainment overall.
Okay.
All right. I want to say I would like the fact that all the other characters from the first movie came back, but you did nothing with them except for two, like Billy and the other kid who was his age. I'm blanking on his name right now. Whoever wore the blue. Freddie. Thank you. So Billy and Freddie were pretty much front and center for this entire film, and the rest of the family was just there. You can see that they had all grown up a little bit. The oldest, Mary, was pretty much she didn't go to college, was working a regular job, and that's all you got on her. And the other three foster siblings was like, okay, welcome back. Nice to have you. Kick your feet up. Don't mess up the couch or anything. Just, welcome to our sequel. Like the other three literally did nothing the entire film. I found it funny that the city of Philadelphia gave them the name the Philadelphia Fiascos because every time they tried to help, they destroyed everything. Like, we cannot let this bridge collapse. Next thing you see, the Philadelphia Fiascos collapse the bridge. So yeah, it had its little comedic moments. Those are nice and everything like that. I like seeing Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren on screen. They were, nice additions. Let's see, what else positive can I say about this film?
I mean, anything. Helen, to me, she can't. Not that she can't do any wrong, but she's just Helen Mirren. It's just
right.
Going to be
but
good.
Lucy and Helen were like, we're doing this. It's a paycheck and it's exposure to a new audience who probably don't know who we are. But how are you breathing and not know who either one of them are at this point in time? Unless you're 5.
Yeah, really young, the youngsters.
Right. Like I said, unless you're 5. If you're 10, you've probably seen a film with either one of them in it by now. You've seen a Fast and Furious film. You stumbled across a Charlie's Angels movie. So you know who those two are.
Mm-hmm.
If you're 10. But if you're 5, you have zero idea who you are. You're just people, powers, yay. But it was a paycheck for them. I'm not going to say they were phoning it in, but they did the best with what they had, which was not much. Okay. And
he's like, y'all actually saw Shazam too?
And I'm dipping a little bit into the bad. They were wasted in this movie. Much like how Kyle felt Jonathan Majors was wasted in Quantum Mania, these two were wasted in this film to the same extent.
I kind of forgot we were talking about the bad. I mean, the good still.
So I'm just dipping into my bad, but we're still on the good.
Okay.
What little there was. You saw I struggled.
All right, Theresa, what you got? As far as did you find any good in this film?
I did find some good. It's pretty much the same as everybody else, though. It was entertaining. It was cute overall. Helen Mirren, Lucy Liu, of course, they're great. I that it was cute. I was entertained.
Oh, was cute.
That's pretty much all I got. And okay. I'm easy. I'm easy with movies. As long as I'm entertained, I'm not mad at giving them 2 hours. I'm still not mad, but I mean, it was not epic. I completely get what Joy said. It was she liked it, but it wasn't memorable.
Yeah.
So,
I'll say
I have one other thing. Hold on, Kyle. One other thing. I feel like overall Shazam 2 is what the Fantastic Four films wish they could have been. There we go.
Okay, I can get that. So I just watched the first movie prior to seeing that one. So from a visual standpoint, I will say the creature design in the sequel was much better than the 7 sins that we got in the first one. Much better. The creatures that you had towards the end of the film, awesome. I don't know who did the visual effects for that, but well done.
The unicorns. I like the unicorns.
Yeah. The different take that you had on those.
Yes, unicorns, not magical creatures. Awesome. They're demonic beasts that will tear you up.
Awesome.
Not the screaming goats.
Awesome lore. Oh my God. Not the screaming goats.
First of all, you will not get the screaming goats. We'll take advantage of Joy not being here to defend them goats. You know she's gonna see this. She's gonna have words for you later.
So I'll say
everything.
From the opening battle at the bridge, I thought that was one of the better bridge scenes. Like most superhero movies, you have like a bridge scene, right? That was one of the better bridge scenes I had seen. As far as overall usefulness and effectiveness, even though the bridge collapsed at the end, I thought that showed a really good way of everyone's personality to an extent. So that was good to me. I thought the acting prowess with the villains were much higher than the first one, because you actually had physical villains as opposed to CGI villains, right? So you bring that acting prowess of a Helen Mirren, awesome. You bring an acting prowess of a Lucy Liu, great. I just wish we had more motivations to Lucy Liu's villain. But other than that, I thought those were two really good villains for the movie. I thought the actress that played Mary Marvel was great, was pretty good in my opinion. I thought the guy, I forget his name in real life, but the person who played Freddy, Dylan Grazer, I think is his name. But he was the highlight. He was one of the highlights to me in this film. You got a chance to see his character and his backstory a little bit more, what he dealt with on a regular basis, and you got to see his character as far as like a Shazam or a Marvel hero, like a Shazam hero. So I really appreciated that.
You got the Dylan part right. It's Jack Dylan.
Jack Dylan Grazer, yeah. So yeah, I really appreciate the fact that we got more of an acting prowess. I wish our highlight hero or our highlight actor and Zachary Levi was better, because again, that really sunk the movie for me. I appreciated Billy Batson being on screen more than I appreciated Zachary Levi being on screen, and that's bad. When you hero with powers, when I want just a kid back as opposed to the hero with powers, says a lot. All in all, like I said, that in my opinion, I'd say from a visual standpoint, much better looking movie than the first. Acting prowess, you got much better top tier actors for your villains and some of your supporting cast. And I would say the character depth, James, I don't necessarily agree, because you got more depth with Freddy. You got more depth. You got more depth with his brother that got to talk about his sexuality a little bit and come out
one line.
But yeah, not much. I mean, that's the only.
No. One line at the end of the movie where they're running through in the bedroom is like, "Oh, by the way, I'm gay." And it's like, yeah, we know.
But that right there is sweet. That was sweet because nobody made a really big deal. Like, dude,
no one made a big deal
That's
of it,
awesome.
but that was all he got though.
Yeah, that was a really development.
Like I said, the other three kids, him, who's the Asian kid and Darla, got nothing throughout the film. Yeah. The Asian kid was still playing video games. Darla was still smarter than we know that she is. That's right. All those things carried over from the first film, but we got no development with them whatsoever.
I think what I'm saying is you got to learn more about their. I don't know if you consider it a development, but you got to learn more about their characters. I should say they weren't like one-offs. They were completely one-offs. In my opinion, they weren't. They were.
You're being kind.
But did they have a big storyline?
They contributed nothing to the film whatsoever.
They didn't have
other than just their presence
all.
Being there.
Yeah, I would say, what do you mean? Darla's throwing in the Skittles and figuring out the Skittles were ambrosia of the human realm was the reason why they got the unicorns. It helped save the day.
I felt like that was just like a waste of her being there. Like there was so much more any of the three of them could have done, and they didn't. Literally nothing with them. Okay, fine. She got the little moment. She got to throw the Skittles and then say, "Taste the rainbow, mother," and then it just cuts out. Yay.
But I'm just saying that doesn't happen if she doesn't hang out with the pen thing. So I'm saying, like, you develop her. That's some development. That's development, is it not?
So here you have basically a child prodigy who's basically got ADHD and very hyperactive because she likes to talk and converse. And those are all things we learned in the first movie about her. Mm-hmm. And there was nothing additional delving into that in the second film whatsoever.
Okay, I see your point. I see your point there.
Whereas with Mary in the first film, we knew that she was stressing over whether she wants to go to college, should she even want to go to college, the decision of if she gets in, whether she goes, she gets the letter. She basically meets Billy as Shazam, who's basically trying to talk her out of it because family's not that important because what he had just, what he was contemplating going through with his mom at the time, because I don't think he had run into his mom yet. And she's like, no, I love my family. I don't want to leave them. Like, this is a great opportunity. I'm just worried about how to tell them. And then she goes off and tells them, we never see that scene, but she basically goes off happy, like confident that whatever decision comes out, whether she goes or doesn't go, she'll be happy with the decision going forward. All right, cool. And then the second film is just a throwaway. Well, I wouldn't have to be taking night classes if I had gotten into college, which I didn't. So because I'm working during the day. And where's the further explore? Like, again, they just got small little conversations tucked away in a corner, or like, here's a scene to say, this is where this character is. And we're never going to touch on it ever again. Like, we never got to see her struggling with going to school and working full time as an 18 or 19-year-old would. Yeah. That plight never came up except for like the one or two times they were showing them having team meetings and she's in a chemistry book.
Yeah.
more than paying attention to whatever's going on. And that was it. We never got to see her outside of that.
So do you think, so one question I do have, do you think that's because of who Freddie was tied to in the film?
Probably. I think Freddie being in the forefront because he was part of the main storyline. Everyone else, forget secondary storyline. They got no storyline. It was pretty much the main storyline of, you know, the complexities of dealing with family, which Freddie tied into. And basically everyone, I guess you could say everyone's growing older, but Billy trying to keep them together now that they've all come into powers. Like they've all come into powers and like everyone's still wants to do their own thing. It's like, yeah, we're a family, but hey, we're not tied to being this superhero group, right?
Yeah.
Like whatever interest they had in the first film, they're still doing that. Mm-hmm. Nothing's really changed. You know, so the kid who comes out as being gay is still watching sports, but we know why he's watching sports now.
Right.
You know, I'm blanking on the Asian kid's name. He's still into tech and video games. Eugene, thank you. So, and like I said, Darla is just a grown up, a few years older than what she was in the first film,
a little bit taller, basically.
Same, you know,
but I'd say Eugene's interest in tech and video games would show his curiosity, which is why he kind of goes into those doors to try to figure out what each of those doors is.
And that was cool to show that, you know, they had mapped out all those doors.
Right. So,
but again,
so yeah,
that was more so foreshadowing like these doors are going to be important later, not so much as exploring a secondary storyline with any of those characters whatsoever as far as what's going on with them.
So do you think because they're leaning on a lot of these storylines to be foreshadowing moments for maybe like a third movie that they think they're gonna have?
Thought.
That's what. Yeah.
There's no third.
Because that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's happening.
You're being way too kind. You're being. So I will say this, and here's the bad. This entire film was Plan B because there was a Plan A.
Yes.
Okay, there was a Plan A. This entire film was, well, Plan A is not going to happen. Let's go to Plan B. Hey, who can we dig up for villains? They're not doing anything? All right, hit them up and see if they're free. That's what this movie felt like.
Yeah.
Lucy, Helen, y'all got some free time? Y'all got a couple of months to spend on set? Work with us? Sure, we're not doing anything. The pay good? Sure, you guys are A-list names. We're going to pay you well. If they weren't the highest paid actors in this movie, then something's wrong.
Yeah.
She's an Oscar winner. Her behind better be the highest paid actress in that movie. But Kyle,
and that's just the beginning of the bad. Look, I mean, the execution of this entire film was not good. And I'm being nice. It just wasn't good. Because again, you could see it. If you saw the first film and you saw Black Adam, which is pretty much part of my ugly.
It's part of it. Everybody's ugly.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Y'all, come on now.
I like Black Adam.
You know what this film should have been if you saw those previous two films, right? You knew where things were. Well, let's put it this way. You knew where the brain trust at Warner Brothers and DC, you know, wanted this second film to be. Because even though it's been removed, because the scene that I think, Theresa, you mentioned at the end of the first movie where they're sitting down in the chairs, whatever, and they talk about, hey, there's an empty seat over there. That was part of the original theatrical release. They removed that.
Yeah.
They removed that post-credit scene at some point. I don't know when, but I remember when I went to the movie theater, that was there. That was one of the post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if you on HBO Max, it's still there.
It's still there.
Yeah, it's still
there.
No,
I watched it on HBO Max the week before I saw the movie. They pulled it. It's not there. Sure? Yeah. The scene where they're sitting in the chairs and they realize that there's 6 of them, but there's 7 chairs. That scene's no longer there.
Okay. I need to go and pull that.
So do they still have, because like in the original movie, they had the Wizard Shazam talking about his previous champion. Did they have the build of The Rock in the movie? I don't remember.
No.
Okay.
No, that wasn't there.
All right.
Well, Kyle, I know you as like the most diehard DC fan.
Mm-hmm.
I found a review, and I could swear it's you. Because this person here says Shazam is one of my all-time favorite superheroes. They enjoyed the first one. However, Fury of the Gods is one of the best DC comic book film to date.
Nah.
What?
Nah. I didn't write that.
Many thanks to the talented and criminally underrated actor Zachary Levi.
No, I definitely didn't write that.
As Shazam.
I definitely didn't write that. Underrated?
Okay. Yeah.
I think somebody got a check for that review.
I'm not buzzed enough for this. I'm just not.
Well, the direction of David F. Sandberg is also wonderfully unique and entertaining.
Wow.
Thrilling in mythological lore. It is one of the best films this year so far and worth watching in the cinemas. Stay for the post-credit as there are 2 awesome surprises.
As a DC fan, you have to know when to give praise and when to be critical.
When to take that L.
And when to take that L. This for me, the bad of this movie, big L. And a lot of it has to do with me knowing the source material as far as the books written by Jeff Johns, as far as discussing the Shazam family, the lore, the history of Black Adam, the potential that this movie could have had. I'm disappointed, and sometimes I'm serious. I'm disappointed.
Really disappointed? You're being kind.
I'm angry. No, I get angry. So again, I always my whole thing is a hero is as good as his villain. So when you have a good villain to make a hero better, that's what makes a movie right there. Batman has
cancel Kyle. What is that?
Batman. No, don't cancel me. Oh, come on.
I was like, he said cancel Kyle.
Cancel Kyle.
How much did cancel Kyle get to write that review?
No, so Batman has his Joker, Superman has Lex Luthor, Shazam has Black Adam. The fact that you don't have, and that's the thing, as good as Shazam is a secondary character in DC.
Secondary?
Maybe even lower.
I'm about to say, I thought he was more so of a third-tier, tertiary character than a secondary.
No, I'd say if you're talking about the Justice League as far as the mainstays of Justice League, he'd be in that second iteration. Yeah, because even in the Justice League, cartoon, he's the second iteration. Yeah,
we talking about Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah.
He was more so a tertiary character. He showed up in 1 episode. Vixen and Green Arrow was secondary characters. They showed up in more episodes than he did. Yes. Your man showed up in 1 episode and immediately quit because him and Superman had a fight in Lexor City.
Okay, so we'll make him a third-tier character. Third-tier character. So the fact that and that's the thing, Black Adam is maybe even lower than the third-tier character.
He's a 4th-tier villain.
4th-tier character. So the fact that you don't have a third-tier character's arch nemesis, and the fact you get another one of their arch nemesis in post-credit scenes, Mr. Mind. Where was Mr. Mind in this movie?
Post-credit scene again.
I'm just we're wasting quality villains and post. The fact that Dr. Zavanna was nowhere to be found in the second movie, scene. Except in the post-credit scene.
Right.
Mr. Mind. That whole time, when you get to the post-credit scene, the fact that Dr. Zavanna is just sitting in the cell, scribbling on the wall, and you make a joke that Mr. Mind has been waiting for somebody to, because he's I don't have any legs. I can only move so fast. Mr. Mind has telepathic powers. He can hitch a ride on somebody, and they don't. Woosah.
These people are doing 4 and 5 stars.
Don't woosah. Don't woosah. Vent.
No.
Vent. Consider this therapy, Kyle. We're here for you.
Okay. This movie.
Point to the doll. Show us where this movie hurt you.
This movie hurt me here. No, here. Here's Mar. I'm in mirror. Here. Hurt me here. Because the potential of what this movie could have been.
Yes.
An improvement on the first.
Mm-hmm.
Moving a positive. Okay, granted, this isn't part of James Gunn's plans. This plans will start until 2025. But again, have a high potential for like this movie, for Blue Beetle that we're getting this year, for Aquaman, and from what I heard about Aquaman, it ain't looking good.
Yeah.
It's still going to come out, though, no matter how trash.
Oh
it
yeah,
is.
for sure.
Oh
Oh yeah.
God.
From what I heard about what I saw from this movie. So yeah, I as a fan, I am disappointed, and I am eagerly awaiting 2025 to get some kind of semblance of something, because I can't take it. I can't take it
Hey, Kyle.
Don't skip us that far that fast. Some of us are already old.
April is Saturday. We're just clearing the first quarter of the year.
Yeah.
We got another 9 months to go, bro.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping Blue Beetle is good. I'm really hoping The Flash is good. I know Aquaman is gonna be trash. So if we get two out of 4, 50%, that's still enough. But I'll take it.
How do you know Aquaman is going to be trash?
Oh, Aquaman has been bombing across test screenings.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, those test screens have not been kind.
Oh my
And the
God.
fact that that movie took more than 2-3 years to make.
But wasn't that because of that chick and the law?
No.
And the court?
Nah. To me, Jason Momoa isn't a very good actor, and
come on, Kyle.
Just like I don't think Gal Gadot is a very good actress. And when wait.
I'm about to change my headline to "Mad at Kyle."
Because if you just need someone to do action scenes and to be stoic, yeah, Jason Momoa can work, Gal Gadot can work. But when you actually need them to deliver lines and to have some kind of carry weight with their lines and in their scenes, I'm not buying it from either one of them.
I'm going to have to disagree with you. I haven't seen a lot of Gal Gadot movies. I
have.
I have seen one particular film. It's on Netflix. Slumberland.
That's the Jason
Slumberland film.
Jason Momoa movie.
That's Jason Momoa.
Yeah. He's phenomenal in that. I'm sorry.
Oh, he was phenomenal in C. He's phenomenal in.
I haven't seen C. But I heard C is awesome. I heard C is awesome.
Oh yeah, it is.
C is awesome.
I'll put it to you like this: Jason Momoa is not good as Aquaman.
Okay, that's fair. I won't say he's bad all over, but I mean,
I don't think you can. Do you think that's why it's bombing? Why it's getting bad reviews?
I think that's partially.
I don't.
No, I don't think so. I think he brought Aquaman to life, especially as a person of color, that we're able to see Aquaman as not some white blonde-headed man, because that's not what I wanted to see. I'm glad that we got him. And I think it was just the story. If it's bad, then I think it's whoever freaking wrote Wonder Woman 2 and did this one. They just did it just to hurry up and get it out the way.
Yeah, I feel like all of these, like the last couple of years, all of these DCs are just throwaways, because they, all of the stuff that's going on, they're like, okay, we started these movies, we got to finish them, throw them out there, they'll make a couple of bucks that maybe we can funnel back into the system or whatever. And until I'm just so sick of seeing what DC is gonna do, what James Gunn is gonna do, and I'm like, just do something and call me when it's done. Call me when you got a decent movie. And so I feel like all of the rest of this stuff is just throwaways, and I think that's unfortunate for like Aquaman fans.
I think because you have a lack of leadership, you've had a lack of
That
leadership,
part.
I should say.
Yeah.
At the head of Warner Brothers, because when you have a lack of leadership, you have change in leadership, you have change of vision as far as what the brand should be. And when that vision changes so much within the past couple of years, none of your movies have cohesion. None of your movies have a direct line through them.
So
And
none of the
it's
movies are good.
Connectivity be damned.
right.
Multiple universes at the same time without even explaining that they're multiple universes or how
Right.
whether they're interconnected or not.
Right.
Your executives going out there and saying any and everything just for press clippings. This is what happens. And I feel like those movies, like, again, there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that we always find out years later. I felt like with Aquaman 2, Wonder Woman 2, the second Wonder Woman film, I feel like there was a push to get that movie done because they knew this merger with Discovery was coming. It wasn't like this wasn't known. Discovery, a merger and a buyout don't happen overnight. They happen over the course of months, at minimum to years. All right. So who knows when the first interest came in, and people probably saw like down the pipe, ooh, and as much like with the how the Snyder Cut didn't come out. You know, there were personal issues that happened that we all know about, but the call to bring in Joss Whedon, because this was coming upon the finalization of the AT&T merger, that the executives there at the time were like, we want Justice League done so we can all get our bonuses. Hurry up and make this movie. And Snyder was like, nah, I have a vision. I know,
and I liked his version.
And I'm gonna do my version my way on my timetable. Your bonuses be damned. And they were like, well, shit, we gotta do something. And unfortunately, tragedy happened in this family, and they took advantage of it. All right, he's stepping away. Cool. Who can we get that knows comic books, who can clean this mess up and hurry up and push it out there? Because we need this out there yesterday. Joss Whedon sitting on the heat because he's kicked out of Marvel. We now know why, partly why he was kicked out of Marvel. He comes in,
trash,
basically turns what was supposed to be a wonderful adaptation of a live action Justice League and makes a turd of a film and pushes it out there to try to, quote, reestablish himself, which he failed to do because we all saw that crappy film, unfortunately, one way or another. And the executives got their bonuses because it met the window of when it was supposed to release before the merger happened. And now all those people not even in those same positions anymore 5 years later, because here we are with another merger with Discovery and new leadership, like Kyle just said, new leadership in charge. And I feel like those people knew certain things were coming down the pipe, and it's like, well, make this film, hurry up and make this film because so-and-so gets a bonus off this and this person gets a bonus off that if they come out at these time frames and these intervals, whatever. So just push them out there. I want my bonus because I got to make sure that whatever happens on the pipe, I don't care as far as the bottom line of the film. I care about my own bottom line is getting my paycheck.
The funny thing is that, and I'm gonna run when you start talking, Kyle. I'm gonna run and to find I'm watching a show, and it's about Marvel. And I think it's every Wednesday or something like that. That the show comes on, and it gives you what happened with Marvel, how Marvel came to be, and they was talking about how Marvel wasn't doing well, and it was actually DC that was doing well, and it started with Blade, and then they were like, oh wow, you can take a comic book and make it into a movie, and Blade made money. Then they did it with Batman, and they wasn't too sure about Michael Keaton, but then that one made money. And then it was like Marvel started looking at DC saying, how can we do what DC's doing? And Marvel just failed with Howard the Duck and
we don't talk about Howard the Duck.
Yeah, they didn't do a good job.
We don't talk about that movie.
They didn't do a good job with that. And then it was Iron Man down the road that was like, hey, let's start with this. And then the next thing you know, they took off.
So I'll say, to James's point, Warner Brothers' issue as far as the leadership is them catering to specific stars and specific talent to push a vision which is why you had issues with Dwayne Johnson, which is why you had issues with Shazam 2.
So
because
we're into the ugly now.
Yes, because
Okay,
Dwayne
good.
Johnson thought he was bigger than Superman. Because
Dwayne Johnson thought he was bigger than Warner Brothers. Let's start there.
Absolutely. He thought, first and foremost, Dwayne Johnson didn't want Shazam anywhere near his film.
Nope.
And you, my thing is, as someone who was supposed lover of Black Adam, you should know that without Shazam, there is no Black Adam.
Mm-hmm.
You should know that without the Shazam family, there is no Black Adam. There's no redemption arc of Black Adam without Shazam, without the Shazam family. So for you to have a movie with no references to Shazam, and to the only reference is to Superman, if that at a post credit scene, to me that reeks of selfishness, that reeks of arrogance, and because of that, the entirety of the DC film universe thus far has suffered. Because if you read the articles that came out after the Shazam movie came out, the Justice Society was supposed to show up in a post-credit scene for Shazam 2.
Yep.
And because The Rock didn't want Shazam anywhere near his movie, that couldn't happen.
Nope. Because The Rock's characters, regardless of who they are, have to be front and center, the center of the universe, which is why on the onset, when he's talking about he wants to take over and be the brain trust of the DCEU that has his Black Adam and Superman as the central figures, I'm like, so we're going to have Superman and a superpowered Batman as the primary figures? Because that's the only way you're going to play Shazam as being the central focus of the DC universe. He has to be a superpowered Batman. But why do you have two people of basically the same, I'm not going to say stature, but the same similar power sets, if you will?
Right.
You know, it makes no sense. And like you said, to do this with zero reference to the Shazam family at all. Even the wizard Shazam wasn't even mentioned in Black Adam.
Right.
Like, Prima Donna Johnson just pretty much decided, like, all right, now I will say this. He was cast over a decade ago. They made that announcement, right?
Yeah.
And they just dragged ass. Now, as I told one of my groups, if the delay in him being announced as Black Adam to a Black Adam film being made was their own ineptitude, fine. I could live with that. We all know the ineptness that happens behind the scenes at DC. We just talked about all the executives wanting to make sure they get their bag and, you know, bottom lines of movies be damned. I want to make sure I get my bonus, whatever. Okay, fine. That's just par for the course if that was it. But if it's more so Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson wanting to be this end-all be-all savior of this connected universe, it is definitely a screw loose. To paraphrase Harvey Dent from the Chris Nolan Batman films, you either die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain. Dwayne Johnson is now the villain.
Yeah.
All right. And he's not the lovable Rock villain he was during his exit in WWE. No, he's a straight up asshole right now.
Yeah.
That's basically all it is. And to all accounts from all the articles that have come out from Zach Levi quotes and other folks behind the scenes who probably don't want their names out there for fear of, you know, hurting their careers, the Rock is basically borderline a shit human being. Yeah. To the fact that where he wants to turn a character who, and let's be real, I haven't read, you know, Black Adam comics since the turn of the millennium, but my knowledge of Black Adam and everything he was throughout comics from the time I read from like the early 80s up until the late 90s. Dude is a bona fide villain. His only goal is to kill Captain Marvel and claim the remaining powers of the wizard Shazam. That's his main focus. He hates Billy Batson. He hates Captain Marvel. He doesn't like this kid. He hates the fact that he exists. He wants to basically wipe him off the face of the earth and claim the remaining power because he knows he doesn't have all the power. He knows this. He wants all of that for himself. So basically he can rule the planet the way he sees fit. And I understand recently he's been turned into an anti-hero. I'm sorry, I call BS on that. I'm tired of all these longtime villains becoming anti-heroes because of the popularity of some actor who wants to play them. Bull, leave it alone. And that's the approach The Rock took with the Black Adam film. Like, what I did was probably villainous, but I was looking out for my people. And basically, they played it like anti-hero the whole way, and only the Justice Society saw him as a villain because of the threat he posed to the rest of the world. Whatever, man. I'm done.
My thing about Black Adam, because it's like his turn from that straight heel to a somewhat lovable heel to a anti-hero, to me in the comics was well done. The reason why I say that is because you had someone who had a redemption arc. I love a good redemption arc. You had someone that had a redemption arc, a believable redemption arc, to the point to where now they're a part of some arcs of the Justice League, and I mean, incredible stories. And his motivations all are kind of like Doctor Doom, all to protect his people, the people of Kahndaq. And the way they're written in the movie, I wish would have translated to the film better. But when you have an actor who has an ego, who essentially, because he has an ego, not only destroyed his own film, but destroyed another film because of that. And I gotta put it out there, he's not the only one that had an ego. Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
That cameo in the first film was because he had an ego and didn't want to appear in that film. So again, I hope moving forward, James Gunn and Peter Safran have the wherewithal to get actors for their films who can step outside themselves and dedicate themselves to the characters, as opposed to thinking they're larger than life to these characters, because those characters are part of a story. And when you have a good story that makes for a good universe, that brings audiences in. That makes them want to come back. And that brings DC back to life. But this movie, Shazam 2 didn't do it. Shazam 2 didn't do it.
LaToya, to your point, why didn't they write a better script? Who knows? Again, like I said earlier, The Rock being the villain in this film, which should have happened, was plan A. And we got plan B. And unfortunately, plan B just wasn't well written. I got nothing.
Yeah. So here we got. It's probably the quickest one we've done so far. Here we gotta wrap it up. So I thank you guys for coming out to hear us rant and hate on the Shazam sequel.
We got plan F. Yes, LaToya. F is appropriate. Along with the letters S and T.
Oh, geez. But, I appreciate all you guys coming out. And I appreciate you, Simone, James, Theresa. Thank you for talking about the movie. And,
I mean, you have to be a true fan to be able to talk about a movie even when it's bad. Even though you love DC, you know that you can't just say, "Oh, but I love it and I have the faith." And no, it was a bad movie. And
that's why I say DC. In my opinion, DC fans don't drink the Kool-Aid like Marvel fans. So
yes, they do.
Gotta get that ding in there. We was praising you. We was praising you, and you gotta ding us just before we get.
He just said we drank the Kool-Aid.
DC fans will spike the Kool-Aid themselves and drink it.
Here we are trying to tiptoe around this movie for him.
The crap I've seen from DC message boards all the way back to when the first Avengers film came out, talking about, well, if DC had Disney money, I'm sorry, you're a subsidiary of Warner Brothers. DC fans can go somewhere. Preferably the bottom of the ocean with a cement block around their ankles.
Ant-Man 3 wasn't that bad. That movie was terrible.
You ain't gonna diss the Care Bears again up on Care Bear stare. All right, care a lot. We care a lot. Care a lot. We care a lot.
Care Bear stare.
You need the Care Bears out of this.
All right. On that note, we'll peace out. We'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free, it was a freedom then, when they annexed Hawaii and called it Cedar Lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves the Republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand, yeah.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No work out for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.
So if we put Hawaii into perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course, versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course, cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No work out for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.